NTD safety. Go ahead, sir. 962, 963, all non-essentials are clear to the LDA. Copy that. PAC console entity. PAC 962. PAC copy. STM, you can terminate video tracking and recording of closeout crew.
Okay, copy. How about disabling EOIF? Can I do that?
That's firm. That's 966. Okay. Yes, sir.
At T-minus 9 minutes and holding, we'll now switch over to Houston's Johnson Space Center to hear the status of mission control.
This is Mission Control, Houston, at T-minus 9 minutes and holding. Ascent flight controllers here at the Johnson Space Center continue to closely monitor all systems aboard the orbiter, and all have notified Flight Director Wayne Hale they're ready to support the 14th launch of Columbia this morning.
LDB traffic for the remainder.
A review of weather conditions at contingency runways at the launch site in Florida, as well as in Morocco and Spain, shows that conditions are favorable to support a landing if one becomes necessary during the launch phase of the mission. The current primary transatlantic abort landing site is Ben Guerir in Morocco, with Morón, Spain also available if necessary. Once Columbia does lift off, the vehicle will roll to a heads-down position, putting it on the proper course to achieve an orbit about 160 nautical miles above the Earth. Roughly 30 seconds into the flight, the three main engines will be throttled back to lessen the effects of the dense lower atmosphere on the orbiter. Less than a minute later, the shuttle will accelerate rapidly, reaching a speed of about 3,700 miles per hour, at the point when the twin solid rocket boosters burn out and separate about 2 minutes. Once in orbit, Columbia's engine will be shut down at the 8.5-minute point and followed just a few seconds later by the separation of the large fuel tank. Again, all continues to go smoothly in mission control, with flight controllers standing by to take over control of Columbia and the STS-55 mission at liftoff. At T-minus 9 minutes and holding, this is Mission Control Houston.
OTC CVFS.
Go.
Step 978 is complete.
Copy, thank you.
This is Shuttle Launch Control at T-minus 9 minutes and holding. Several key milestones remain between now and liftoff of Columbia. Once we come out of the hold, the ground launch sequencer will take charge and begin controlling ends and monitoring of shuttle systems for all critical tasks. In the next several minutes, our NASA tester Al Sofchi, the shuttle launch director Bob Seek, and our mission management team chairman Brewster Shaw will all conduct individual polls of their respective parties, and after receiving goes for those, we'll be ready to launch.
Go. Flight. Maya.
Milo's go.
SM. STM is go. Safety console. Safety go. SP. SP go. CDR.
CDR's go.
LRD.
LRD's go.
SRO.
SRO's go. You have a range clear to launch.
Copy. Houston flight NTD.
NTD flight is go.
Copy. Launch director, the launch team is ready to proceed.
Copy, and we'll do the management poll here shortly. Copy, com.
STM NTD. Go ahead. Do you have verification your OIS is deactivated? Yes, sir. It's that's step 85.
NTD launch director.
Go ahead.
Okay, we'll conduct the management poll at this one. Payload operations.
Payloads are go, Bob.
Copy, John. Engineering director.
Bob, engineering's go.
Copy, Bob. Safety and quality.
Safety and quality's go, Bob.
Copy, Al. And Cape weather.
Launch director, we have no weather constraints to launch. Over.
I copy. And ops manager, launch director.
Bob, we have no constraints at this time, and you're clear to proceed with the launch.
Thank you, sir. Columbia launch director, air to ground 1.
Columbia, go ahead.
Okay, Steve. Well, looks like a great opportunity to get on orbit today. So if everything goes well, that's 9 minutes. We hope you get there safely and successfully. NTD, you have a go to launch.
Copy. Columbia, thank you once again for all the effort, the launch team, in getting Columbia ready to go.
There.
OTC 60.
Go.
Give you step 1034 or HDS.
This is Shuttle Launch Control at T-minus 9 minutes and holding. We have now conducted the polls of the man teams here in the firing room and out at the Mission Control Center. These polls were conducted by our shuttle test director, Al Sofchi, our mission management team chairman, Brewster Shaw, and our Space Shuttle Launch Director, Bob Peake. All parties are unanimous. Columbia is go for flight this morning. Weather continues to look very good, and we are planning to come out of the built-in hold here in another 2 minutes. At T-minus 9 minutes and holding, this is Shuttle Control.
Countdown clock will start in 2 minutes. Countdown clock will start in 1 minute.
This is Shuttle Launch Control at T-minus 9 minutes and holding, with just 30 seconds left in today's planned built-in hold. At this point, the heaters and the boosters are being turned off in preparation for launch, and our booster test conductor, Harvey Cohen, is confirming proper levels of oxygen inside each of the booster's hydraulic power units. We're just 10 seconds away from picking up the launch countdown and continuing forward for launch of Columbia on time at 9:51 this morning. 2, 1. Countdown clock is now at T-minus 8 minutes, 56 seconds, and counting. The ground launch sequencer has been activated, and the STS-55 terminal countdown is underway. All countdown events are now being handled by the ground launch sequencer up until T-minus 31 seconds, when the responsibility for the countdown is handed off Columbia's onboard computers. The launch team continuing to monitor their consoles and no problems being observed.
PLT, OTC. Go ahead. Configure fuel cell essential bus source switches.
That's in work. That's complete.
Copy.
Houston flight controllers have sent their stored programs to the Shuttle Columbia to assure that we have compatible antenna frequencies to support the mission. All continuing to look very well. T-minus 7 minutes and 30 seconds. The ground launch sequencer has initiated retraction of the crew access arm away from Columbia. The access bridge could be positioned back in place in just 15 seconds if the need will arise. T-minus 7 minutes, 12 seconds, and counting.
JRPS OTC. JRPS. Start your AU and hydraulic strip chart recorders protocol.
It is, and we're looking at a live shot right now at Kennedy Space Center. We are at 6.5 minutes to launch and not holding. The countdown continues apace.
All systems Columbia continuing to look well.
PLT OTC.
Go ahead.
Perform APU pre-start.
APU pre-starts in work.
Orbiter test conductor Mike Key has just instructed pilot Tom Henricks to perform the auxiliary power unit pre-start procedure. Henricks will be setting the switches in the cockpit to the auxiliary power units in the proper pre-start configuration. Auxiliary power units will start at the T-minus 5 minute mark and about another 40 seconds.
OTC, CLT, great talk back.
These auxiliary power units provide the power to the hydraulic pumps that control critical tasks like the movement of the orbiter's elevons, the rudders, the speed brakes, the landing gear, and the main engine thrust vector converters. Mission Control has just transmitted a signal to start Columbia's onboard flight recorders in preparation for flight. We're just about 10 seconds away from getting a go for auxiliary power unit start.
Okay, let's just go for orbiter APU start. PLT OTC, perform APU start.
Starting the APUs.
And CDR OTC, reconfigure heaters.
Orbiter test conductor Mike Key has given pilot Tom Henricks the command to start Columbia's auxiliary power units.
Countdown continues. We're just minutes away, possibly at least now, from the launch of the oldest of the space shuttles. It's a live picture from Cape Canaveral.
Columbia getting ready to go up, and our correspondent Tony Clark will be joining us in just a minute or two as we wait for the shuttle to go up. Back in a minute.
The liquid oxygen fill and drain valve is now closed for flight. A final purge sequence of Columbia's main engines will begin in about 5 seconds. The chamber coolant valves on the main engines will be open to prepare for engine ignition. Columbia's aero surfaces, such as the rudder, elevons, and speed brake, are now cycled through a programmed test pattern to verify that they are ready for flight. T-minus 3 minutes, 35 seconds, and all continues to look good. We've now transferred over to internal power and are swinging off ground power to Columbia. At this point, the orbiter is being powered by its onboard fuel cells. All aero surface checks are complete and reported to be in launch configuration. Columbia's 3 main engines are now being gimbaled and being cycled through a steering check. We're approaching the launch minus 3 minute mark in the count and looking to soon begin flight pressurization of the liquid oxygen tank. T-minus 2 minutes, 55 seconds.
LO2 pressurization.
And we have a go for retracting the gaseous oxygen vent hood away from the external tank. Purging of Columbia's main engine is now being terminated.
Clear caution and warning memory and verify no unexpected errors.
Columbia is now running on internal power.
Crisis here, clear and false.
Orbiter test conductor Mike Key requested pilot Tom Henricks to clear the ship's caution and warning memory system, and Henricks has completed the task. 2 minutes and 50 seconds away from launch of STS-55.
Flight crew, OT, close and lock your visors and initiate OT flow. Have a good flight.
CDIS, thank you much.
Yeah, let's go for EP LH2 prediction.
The astronauts have now closed their visors in preparation for launch.
Good morning, Bob. Good morning, Donna. In fact, the launch is going very smoothly. The launch countdown, right now it's less than 2 minutes before the launch. In fact, if we can take a look at a live shot of this, there we're looking at the window. Tom Henricks, you can see in the window. Tom comes in and out of frame there. He is the pilot of the shuttle. It is Hendricks' second flight. There is a 7-member crew on board Columbia. This is the 14th flight of that shuttle. It is the oldest in the shuttle fleet. 54 shuttle missions. This marks the 54th, 53 now. It is known as D2. That is for the German. It is the second German Space Lab mission. D for Deutschland, the German word for Germany. Germany is paying $560 million for this round-the-clock Space Lab mission. It is their first one was done in 1985, and they had planned a second one for 1988, but because of the Challenger disaster, that mission was canceled. They had also planned to have a third Space Lab mission, but that also is being canceled because of the high cost of reunification for Germany. This is a 9-day mission. There are 7 astronauts on board. 2 of those astronauts are German astronauts. They will be heading up the experiments in the small bus-sized Space Lab module that is in the payload bay. They will be working around the clock in 2 teams. Let's listen in to the final seconds of the countdown.
20.
Columbia's vent doors are configured for launch. T-minus 15, and we're coming up on a go for main engine start.
10. Yeah, let's just go for main start.
7, 6, 5, 4,
Abort.
and we have a main engine shutdown at T-minus 3 seconds.
Progress. PSS 101, LDB 1.
We have a redundant set launch sequencer aboard.
Abort, duration in progress. Copy, launch team page 904.
And Columbia is now being saved.
Obviously, a problem on board with the shuttle Columbia. Everything had gone smoothly up to this point. But just as the engines were getting ready to fire, they shut down. Let's listen in for a moment. What we're seeing right now is the retractable arm coming back so that the crew can get out of the shuttle. You can see the shuttle hatch right there. Let's listen in for just a second.
Power units, the engines are safe, and Columbia is being placed in its configuration.
No MPS fire detectors are tripped at this time. Copy.
That is Launch Director Bob Seek there in the middle.
Shutting down the APUs.
And CMPL and C-Log verify lock fleet tab established. MPL lock fleet tab. Copy. CS start LH2 topping. MPS copy. CLS primary safing is complete, and we're go for transition G9. Copy. And what about your fire detectors, GLS? Have none tripped. Okay. MPL fire detectors.
OTC, PLT, APUs are shut down.
MPL fire detectors. No fire detectors indicated. And MPL reports water deluge status. The MPL NTD step 32, your water deluge status. Water is flowing at this time. And that's heat shield. Heat shield water is on. Copy. HTD step 33. And HTD and CLHY report leak detector status.
Leak detector status is nominal,
And step 34 and 35 are good. The tank has been at ambient. Copy. And HTD, your leak detector status.
nominal. Looks nominal at this time.
Okay, and CLHY, your leak detector. CLHY NTD. LHY, I can verify leak detector good. Copy. Step 36, CGSS, OA extended and locked.
CGSS can verify the OAA is extended.
Copy. Step 37. All personnel go to page 931 for the post-abort safety checks.
Columbia's pilot Tom Henricks has confirmed that the auxiliary power units are shut down, and Al Sofji has just confirmed that the orbiter access arm is now back in place next to Columbia.
Understand. ST, copy that? ST, copy.
Engine engineers are confirming that they see no leaks around the main engines and that they feel the vehicle is in a safe configuration.
GPS verified, polling and telemetry. CCME. CCME verified. SME. SME verifies 4 and 5. CMPL. MPL verifies 7. LHY. LHY verifies 8, 9, 10. Fox. CLX verify 11, 12. HGD. HGD, NTD.
We're looking at our time.
CGSF.
GSS verifies 14.
APU.
APU verifies 15.
CHY.
CHY verifies 16.
EPD. EPD verifies 7 and 18.
OOS verifies 19.
CBRS. CRS 20. HGD, do you have a status?
Stand by.
Abort safety checks are complete. Proceed to recycle coal sequence, sequence 18, page 1031. And when you get a status, HGD, break in. Okay, sequencing, page 1032. GLS safing has started. Flight, NTD.
NTD flight.
Perform your recycle.
In work.
AC. CDR OTC.
CDR, go ahead.
Yes, sir. Configure heaters.
Start reconfiguring heaters at this time. TCCR heater reconfig complete.
NTD, copy that. And CR on panel F7. Flight controller power switch off.
Go ahead.
Yeah, on panel F7, flight controller power.
What we're seeing right now is the shuttle on the pad. A few seconds before the scheduled launch, the engines began the initial firing and then shut down. No word yet on exactly what caused the automatic shutdown. Right now, NASA engineers are going through the shutdown and safety procedures. Right there, you're seeing a picture of the entry arm. It would move back towards the shuttle's hatch so that the astronauts could leave the shuttle when everything is safe. Right now, engineers at the Kennedy Space Center say they have the shuttle safe, and what they're doing is going through the process of turning off all of the various switches. Again, no indication as to exactly what caused the shutdown of the engines on board the Shuttle Columbia. This is the oldest space shuttle in the fleet. It was making its 14th flight, this a German space lab mission. No indication also of what the delay may be in this. This shuttle mission is already almost a month behind schedule. It was supposed to be launched around the 25th of February, but there was a question about some of the parts on the shuttle, and that caused a delay. Then there was a hydraulic line that burst, and that caused a delay, and then there's a scheduling problem with an unmanned rocket launch, and that caused another delay. If this shuttle could not be launched tomorrow, engineers said yesterday, by tomorrow, then there would be at least a 1-week delay, and that creates another problem. There is another shuttle, Discovery, that's set to launch on April the 7th. And so there's some question about whether or not this mission will go for some time. So right now there are a lot of questions and not many answers. Germany had been hoping to do this shuttle mission in 1985. Was their first mission. They planned to do this one in 1988, but that was still by the Challenger. So, as I say, more questions, and we will be back with more of the Shuttle Columbia's launch attempt and what went wrong after this.
This is CNN Breaking News.
The attempt to launch the Space Shuttle Columbia was reported just minutes ago.
Let's check in with our correspondent, Tony, as we continue to follow the story. Tony?
Donna, it happened about 3 seconds before the launch time. In fact, here you can see a shot of the shuttle on the launch pad. It was supposed to be launched around 9:51 this morning. Right now, NASA is going through the various procedures to ensure that everything is shut down, everything is turned off in the shuttle. It was at T-minus 3 seconds, just as the main engines were starting to fire, that a computer commanded the shuttle engines to be off. Let's take a look at those final seconds.
7, 6, 5, 4, and we have a main engine shutdown at T-minus 3 seconds. We have a redundant launch sequencer aboard.
Copy, launch team page 904.
And Columbia is now being saved.
CDR, panel 6, GPC, mode 5, switch to halt.
CDR, mode 5 to halt.
And NTD, GLS, ignition septic system. All engines are showing post-shutdown standby or go for orbiter APU shutdown. Copy. MPL, do you have the word?
We're now preparing to shut down the orbiter's auxiliary power units. The engines are safe, and Columbia is being placed safe configuration.
No MPS fire detectors are tripped at this time. Copy.
This is a live shot again of the shuttle as the engineers are going through, NASA ground controllers, launch controllers are going through the process of shutting down the main engines. You can see the water cooling the engines. They were running for about a few seconds before a computer shut them down. There is no indication at this point exactly what the problem was. The countdown had gone very smoothly up until that point. Weather was not a problem. All the electronics seemed to be working well. It looked like everything was set for a 9:51 a.m. Eastern Time launch when the shutdown occurred. This shuttle, which is the oldest shuttle in the fleet and was going to be making its 14th flight, had some problems, though, up to now. It was originally scheduled that this mission would be launched around February 25th, but NASA, in going through paperwork, couldn't confirm that some of the parts were new, and so they went back, delayed the flight, and to make sure that all the parts were the correct parts on the shuttle. Then there was a hydraulic line that burst. It was a 16-year-old line that burst during one of the test sequences, and so that had to be replaced. Then the launch was delayed one other time because of an unmanned rocket launch, and so then when everything got set, and it was set for this morning, everything seemed to be going well. The crew boarded around 7 a.m. Eastern Time, got in their seats, everything got set. Just about 9 minutes before launch time, the go-ahead was given to resume the countdown, and everything seemed to be going well until 3 seconds before the countdown. Now the process of safing the shuttle continues. The process of trying to find out what the problem was continues, and we'll let you know as soon as we hear from NASA. I'm Tony Clark at CNN Center. Bob?
Thank you, Tony. It is now nearly 4 minutes past the hour, and here's an update of this hour's lead stories. Russian...
That's complete.
And pneumatic helium isolation switch, GPC.
Complete.
Copy, thank you. STM, did you pick up step 62? STM, step 62. That's confirmed. Safety console NTD. Safety, go ahead. Yeah, step 63, SRB ring safety, SNAs and MEC critical commands disabled. Request safety concerns.
This is Shuttle Launch Control. Safing of the Space Shuttle Columbia continues out at Launch Pad 39A. And we are now waiting for some word on when the crew might be able to leave the orbiter. The crew seems fit, and there are no problems inside the orbiter, and we're still in the problem of trying to track down why we had a main engine shutdown this morning 3 seconds before Columbia would have lifted off on STS-55.
Send the ground command. Get the heaters back on. SP?
It is far too early to hypothesize on any potential launch date or even what occurred here this morning, but we can confirm that we will not be making a launch attempt tomorrow, and any days beyond that will have to be determined by shuttle managers.